Okay, before we get this floor piece put down, I was coming up to these top edges and basically cutting away that, which is fairly good amount of space considering where the edge of the wall, if I can line this up, plus getting it to the top. I'm trying to get it the top of the wall as close to this roof as I can get it. Try to tie that in, plus you're gaining a little space there, but we're gonna see what we can do by just cutting that little part there out. Still got to come back over here and cut along there just to get that out of the way. But as far as that goes, it's we'll see how that pays off. I just wanted to, I felt more confident in cutting that, especially where the edge of the wall is about to be when I go to, start working on the side of the walls for this. So we'll take it from there. Finish cutting this side. I didn't finish cutting it all the way out because I was going to give you something to look at from the difference. But yeah, we basically starting it off on this new video with that, and I'm just using a grinder with a cutoff wheel, being extra careful. Especially with the side windows, you definitely don't want to do anything stupid and break them. And of course, sparks. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this and get on through this part. Two sides cleaned up, looking pretty much the best I'm gonna be able to get them. I haven't cut this back part yet. I don't know if I'm going to have to. I'll find out. If I do, then well, I guess I cut it just like the rest of it. But yeah, as you see, I mean, they leveled it up and get some more height out of it, especially with the sides. So now that that's taken care of, we can go on to the next thing. I just pulled this down off of that. I have to put that back up, but yeah, it was in the way, wiring for the top. So I'll go ahead and get to the next part here. All right, coming back at you with the next little part here. Like I said, don't mind this. What I've started so far, I got one side of the wall up right here as far as the main piece. I'm cutting this piece that's it's gonna be 2 layers here. You can see this. Let's see here. Of course, it don't go all the way up to the top because of how close I got that first piece that comes up and butts up against that. We made a cut here for this because obviously I need 48 inches in between fender well to fender well, and that'd be allowing just 1 3/4 inch piece. So as far as me cutting this back part here, let's see if you can see this, and not using a full sheet, I didn't want to waste the sheet. I cut, especially where the length of them, how long the wall is, I was eating up a sheet, so instead of getting 2 out of it. So what I'm doing is using the other piece to glue to the back here and screw, because it's going to be bolted anyway, even though it ain't a solid one. And it's already going to be overkill anyway with the squares filled on the back side with the steel that's 1 1/4 inch. So it's going to be a solid 3-inch piece, 3 inches wide on both sides, just like the floor. So that's going to be plenty. So we'll go with that. But first, I'm going to use this rag here, and we're going to wipe these side windows down before we get too far into this building these sidewalls. And I'm going to use this stuff here, it's like Plasti Dip. I mean, it ain't got a big brand name. All we're doing here is, you could actually use spray paint, but just use this to where you can pull it off if it needs to, but it's to prevent any sunlight to come through, showing in on the side of the wall. That's never nice looking. So we're gonna have to go ahead and knock that part out. After that, get started on these side pieces to get them ready for the steel bracing. And because it's that time consuming, you know how that goes. So go ahead and get to that part. But for right now, I'm gonna leave y'all at that. All right. Okay, so I've pretty much taken this side and flush trimmed the exact same ones with these pieces of board that I had. So it came about. It matched up perfect. Of course, they're the same length, same size. Made sure they're square and everything to the floor. Had to cut one more little piece up here that I forgot to since I cut it on that side. But as far as that goes, I mean, there's literally not one more bit of space that I can get out of this. And I'll show you as far as this back. Put this square, of course, that's there, and it hits directly almost to the top of that before it hits that side of that board. And as it goes up, of course, the roof kind of shoots up just a tiny bit. So I'm gonna have just a small amount of gap between this actual roof and the roof of the wall itself. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to see exactly how much I'm going to have up there in the front and try to figure out a way to put a piece of wood or something, because I got to make sure that I get this top here and that square going across the top, regardless of how close it is to the roof, because I'm not kerfing to that roof. I have to make sure that the box itself up top is square with the rest of it, because as far as this sits right now, this is square. But I'm still trying to tie this roof in, but we need to figure out a way for this to make up that gap in between there. If it comes down to it, heck, some spray foam. But I think I'm going to try to figure out a better way than that. It's going to be stronger. Of course, I want to tie into that roof. So technically it'll be 2 layers there and then 2 layers up top for the actual shell. And yeah, as far as that goes, I mean, should be pretty stout. So now I'm at this point where I have to take these apart, or should I say take them back out, and get ready to start bracing these pieces up. And that's, like I say, that's more time, just like the floor. So I'll jump back with you, when I can here. I'm just showing you exactly the shell and everything that I've got going on as of right now, which I'm very happy with, and looking forward to the progress to come along. So hell yeah. Alright, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, got both of these blacked out, so that's good to go. I've been working on this, the bracing for the back side of each of the side walls. I've done the front one first, then I just basically copied over the measurements and everything, cut all these out. Like I said, it's going good right now. As you see, I'm starting to drill the holes, and I'm going every 4 inches. The floor I did every 3. It's I don't know. I still like to use a lot of bolts or lag screws. Bolts in this case, because I'm actually just going to bolt this through, and then fill the squares with some wood. But yeah, like I say, almost finished with this side right here as far as drilling. Then I got to come over here, do the exact same thing. Like I say, it's just a time-consuming process for the most part. So we'll go ahead and finish knocking these 2 pieces out. As soon as I'm done with that, I can start. I'm gonna lag screw in some of these pieces after I get them drilled to spot weld, so that they don't move or whatever. But as far as that goes, we should be we're still in a good direction right now. Everything's going good. I'm gonna go ahead and finish drilling those off on that other one down there, get to this one, and we'll pick back up. Alright peeps, so we've got to this part right here. I've tack welded, making sure everything's square. tack welded all these pieces in 3 different spots, as you see, top and the 2 sides. So now comes where I basically have screwed using this board just as a flattening device now to make sure that it don't bow at all. I mean, like I say, it as long as you go back and forth and all that, but I figured why not, you know, just do that. Ain't gotta worry about nothing. I put one on this side, I put one right here. So right now it's basically a time to weld it up. And I'll do this one next. After this, I'll, you know, basically show you what's next in, you know, for store for these pieces. But I'm gonna, like I say, take some time welding this up, do this one, and we'll get right back. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a little update. So this is the second baffle over here. I pretty much drilled those out, ready to add the bolts. We've got this one plenty ahead. Got these all braced in. Bolts on the front side have been pulled through, so to make sure it's really snug and tight. Right now what I'm doing is filling these squares, going back and gluing together the 2 pieces, then screwing with the glue onto the original piece. And as you see, I just cut, you know, for the shapes and all. So for instance, that, and then I'll just come in, add some glue, shoot that down with some screws. Pretty basic. It's just to fill those and give it a little more structure on the back side, because if it's there and you can put it there, you might as well. But trying to think what else. As far as that goes, it's just a matter of putting these squares in here on this one, getting that other one to this point, and then we'll get to putting these inside the Tahoe. So we'll go ahead and end it right there, and we'll get back with you in just a second. Okay, little side note also, where I cut this piece, you know, the main one, and I can maneuver the other ones on, and I got some scraps, I can use the table saw to cut these squares, so it makes for a little faster, easier, you know, straight cuts and all. So just a little side note on that. Right now, of course, I've finished cutting these squares out. I still need to glue these together, cut the little corners just a little bit with the jigsaw, and put them in here, and it should be good to go. Like I showed before, I needed to cut the some of these bolt ends off, which I did. Did it down on the bottom too, which basically right now I'm going to, this part right up here is the first layer of the roof for the top of the wall. So we'll while we'll let these dry, once I get these screwed together and glued, I'll see what I can do about possibly cutting another one out of that. So I'll have 2 pieces ready to go. Thinking about Craig jigging them just to kind of get a, you know, help me get them lined up and everything. So we'll get that part. Getting closer, getting closer. Got both sides now taken care of. That one's braced in, that one's braced in. Have not yet actually mounted them yet to the sides. Angle iron is gonna actually be what I use. Of course, ran in the sealed section up front, you know, across the loading wall, whatnot, and then up top, same with that, and along the back sides. That's gonna actually attach the back wall to the sides and all. Let's see. I put 1 piece of wood up here, 4 foot wide, by the length of the wall. As you see, cutting it extra close. I don't know if I can get in there. Of course, I had to cut a lot and everything, but you can tell that it goes pretty much to the back corners, runs along there. I got as much as I could coming back as I possibly, you know, could get out of it with the height being that it is. For the roof, of course, this is just single layer right now. I'm going to put another piece. But before I do that, I'm going to, if I can come up here to the front. I know we're kind of going into the top of the wall, but there ain't much to it. So I'm going to tie this part into the video of the sides. All right. As you can see, there's a, let's see if I can get in here. That light I know is messing up a lot of the, alright, you can see that there's a gap there about, I'd say, 1.25 inches at the tallest. As it goes over here, obviously, you're looking at 1/2 to 3/4. But that's all it was between the top of the roof and that. So I'm thinking I'm going to expandable foam in between there as much as I can. Then once that is set up and dried, I'm going to come back, and of course I will have the baffle part that's going to be in here so that it don't bow the roof when I go to screw it up and everything like that. And I'll be making sure that as I screw this piece in first, the second layer, where, you know, of course that's going to glue to this because there's going to be double layer up top. I just don't want to make, I want to make sure that this piece right here, when I go to screw it into the roof, won't bow going up. So we shouldn't have no issues with that as long as we make sure that nothing, you know, it's not over tightened, I guess you could say. Plus you got the expandable foam up there, and it will definitely help from it compressing together. We just need to fill that gap there with something to help when I go to screw this top two into the ceiling piece, the roof itself. But with this right here, the shell, it's been a task. It's been a lot of time consuming work, especially with these side pieces, welding these all together. As you can see probably with this video that I'm just made. See, I'm not sure. I know I went up here, I made a little trick, made my 3/4 inch mark since it's only one layer, and went across so that I know that these pieces are perfectly straight with the you know, the sides of the top, which they are. Definitely got every bit of the height out of it I wanted. I had to grind a little more, but yeah, it definitely worked out. So now it's a matter of getting some expandable foam up in there, letting that dry, and starting on these baffles. But before I get started on these baffles, I'm gonna just have to end this with this segment, update part of the Tahoe, and we'll let you get to watching on this. So I appreciate y'all's time of watching this. I'm gonna try to get to these baffles next. So got something to look forward to and get to looking like an actual enclosure. All right, peace.